Alright guys, so this is going to be my first full-length video on this YouTube channel. Today, I have this Quictent greenhouse. It's one of the tube houses. It's the newer model. It has a swing door. And I'm going to be placing it right here. Give or take about, right in here. The first thing I got to do is I have to cut down that one mesquite branch right there that kind of hangs over on my side of the fence. Once that's taken out, then I'm going to start building the frame up in this spot here. Once the frame's completely built, then I'm going to go buy the lumber that's going to be used to make the bottom support and to beef it up a little bit. So I'll check back in with you once I get the frame started to be done. Alright, so I got that branch cut out of the way. I had to cut it because if it got real windy, it was going to be in the way of the greenhouse. I didn't want it tearing the tarp and whatnot. This is a honey mesquite tree, and normally I would never cut this tree, but this is the only place in the yard I can put the greenhouse that I can halfway have it protected by the wind. So now I've just got to go through and move all the peppers out of the way so I can have room to actually start building this thing. So once I get those moved out of the way and I start getting some of this stuff laid out, I'll bring you all over to show you what's all in the box. All right, here we go. Here's the space I cleared out. That's where it's gonna go, right there up against the fence to that blue barrel, or at least as close as I can get it. I'm gonna pull some of these weeds real fast, but once I start getting stuff laid out, I'll bring y'all back. Open it up, this is what they look like. You have your tarp, fold up neatly, and then all your poles and hardware in here, and your nuts and screws, and I guess that's gonna be the build book. So all right, let's get started. All right, we have the frame up. I didn't really time how long it took me, but you know, I've been at it most of the day. I started at least around noon-ish, maybe a little after. It's 5, so you know, maybe 4 or 5 hours, and by myself. It would be easier with another set of hands, but it can be done by yourself pretty easily. And you see the spot here, it's pretty straight, still a little cattywampus, but not super bad. Now the reason why I got this particular model and not the one that has the big zip up door is this model is a little bit more beefier than the old version that has the zip up door. First of all, it has one of these little cross members caddy corner from each other. I wish it had them all the way down and across the back, but you know, it is what it is. It's pretty sturdy, but it still moves a lot. If you live somewhere where you don't have strong wind, like maybe up north, maybe you know, northeast, somewhere like that, or even out in the deserts out west, this is probably gonna be fine for you just as is. However, here, South Texas, right here on the coast, we get strong winds a lot of the time of the year, and it is hurricane area. So I am gonna beef it up tomorrow. That's all I'm doing today. So what I'm gonna do, it's gonna be hard to explain this right now, but what I'm gonna do is on the base of it, I'm gonna put a 2x6 underneath all the way around as a base plate. Then on the outside, I'm going to have another 2x6 come up on the outside to make kind of a cradle, be like an L. That's gonna go all the way around the back. The back door I'm not gonna open, so I'm gonna do it all the way across the back, and I'm gonna do it just up to the door here on the front side. And then I'm going to be using hose clamps, or not hose clamps, but pipe clamps to screw the greenhouse down to that after I wrap the tarp under it and pull it tight. The other thing I'm going to do, I saw another YouTube video where somebody took 2x6s and they did a base plate like I'm talking about, and they did a 2x6 that comes up on these bars here. They notched it to go on here, and then they cut it to match the contour, and then they held it with pipe clamps or pipe clamps around it onto that board to make it more sturdy. I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna go 2 steps further. After I do that, I'm then also gonna do a 2x4 down the entire length of it on the top of it to sturdy it up. This backside here, I'm going to do a 2x4 directly across as well. That it's going to attach to those braces, and then in the front here, I'm going to do a 2x4 that goes up alongside this, that is going to be held to this with hose clamps, and then probably notched up here to match this contour. And then about halfway down, I'm going to do a 2x4 going across here that's going to attach to the bracing there. So, and then I'll probably do one that goes across up there as well. So it's going to have a wood frame on the inside of it that's going to make it far sturdier, but that's going to be tomorrow's project. And but otherwise right now it's looking good. I'm fairly happy with it. Now, what I would say about these greenhouses, I would happily pay double the price if they doubled the wall thickness of the pipes, double the thickness of the tarp, and then also the screws made them out of a harder steel, because these things strip super easy. They are super soft steel. Now, I know this is a cheap Chinese greenhouse, but even for the price that it is, and you know, putting maybe a couple $100 worth of fortification into it, it's still going to be pretty, you know, usable and strong. So I'll see y'all tomorrow, probably after I get the base plate down and get that base frame set up. Then I'll start talking about whatever I'm doing. But so far so good. It's looking pretty good. I gotta water the garden, all the plants today. It looks like I got a couple cayennes to harvest, but yeah, it's going. And yep, see y'all tomorrow. All right, day 2 of the greenhouse project. So I got all my lumber for the frame, but the first thing I did is I went through and I wrapped every joint with electrical tape. And this is just to give an extra layer of protection for the tarp against any sharp edges or corners, because some of this piping does have some very sharp edges. So I didn't wrap these here because they're actually inside and wouldn't be touching the tarp, but you can see there that's very, very sharp, so that could easily wear through a tarp. So I went ahead, all the corners, every single joint that has anything sharp that could help, that could wear the tarp, I went ahead and I wrapped it in a good bunch of layers of electrical tape, especially anything that was one of these pipe ends. Now, there are little plastic caps that they supply you to plug these in that do help a little bit, but there actually was not enough to do every single end. So some of like the bottom ones don't have any at all. I just had to wrap them with a lot of electrical tape. But that's just one thing I did to make sure the tarp's gonna last a lot longer. So I'm gonna start putting together the frame, and then we'll go from there. All right, so I got the base done. See, nice, solid, treated cradle for it to sit on. That alone, even that has made it a little bit more sturdy, but it's gonna make everything else a lot easier and make my frame a lot stronger. So the next part I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make supports that are gonna come up here about 4 feet or so, and they're gonna come up, match the curve of this, and then they're gonna be hose clamped to this. And then after I run the tarp, the cover through it and tighten it up, then it's going to be attached to the base of the frame. And then there's going to be one 2x4 20 that is going to go from right here attached to every single brace across. And then there's going to be a brace that goes across the back all the way there. And then some framing here in the front. Once that's all done and attached, I don't believe this thing is going to move anywhere. It'll be a bit of a pain to get the cover off because I'll have to undo all the screws and stuff down at the base. But I think short of a Cat 2 or 3 hurricane, I don't think it's going to be a problem, especially if I can get the cover nice and tight. So I'll check back in with y'all once I get the bracing up, and then show y'all where I'm going from there. All right, so I've got my side supports up. They're not pretty, but they will do the job. Next, I'm trying to figure out what is going to be the next step, because I would like to attach these now, but the problem is once I add that weight, it's going to be harder to lift up the frame to tuck the tarp underneath it. I may go ahead and tuck the tarp under it first, or put the tarp on, tuck it under it first, and then add them on before I tighten up the tarp. That probably is what I'm going to do, but I've got to wait till somebody gets home to give me a hand. But overall, it's coming along pretty good. I think I'm going to take a break and water the plants, and maybe put the cover on here in a few minutes. Alright, so this is what I got done here. So you can see I just got one side done. I'm cutting it tonight because the mosquitoes are starting to come out here in South Texas. We still got mosquitoes this time of year, especially, so we just got some rain. But I got this side done here, you can see. So I got them strapped down, and it's got some hose pipe straps, and bent them to go around the pole, and did them in 2 spots, and they are not going anywhere. So I'm going to get these all the way down, all the way around, and then tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and put the cover on, fold the cover on the inside here and under the bars. As you can see, I can still pick these up. And then once they're in, I'm going to pull them from the inside on each side to tighten it up around it. Then once it's tightened down, I've got these hose clamps that I'm going to go all the way around the bars, all the way around, and screw these down all the way around. Then I will screw these, toenail these in to the base, and then those will be set. Then the 2x420s are going to attach here all the way down. So yep, that's how it's going so far. And it's just moving slow. I'm taking my time, trying to make sure everything's set up right. I've had to re-notch these multiple times to make sure that they fit properly, but everything's coming along. I'm just taking my time here, so I'll check in with y'all tomorrow when I get to the next step. Alrighty guys, here's where we're at. I'm about to put the cover on. I got all the spars attached all the way around, and I went ahead and wrapped all of the hose clamps with duct tape in order to make sure that they don't have any rough surfaces. And then here on the corners where the wood actually sticks out slightly more than the bar, because the bar is only 1 inch, I went ahead and put duct tape down the entire length, just to give something so there's not that sharp edge rubbing against it. So everything's coming along pretty good. I'm about to put the cover on, and then I'll come back to y'all after I put the cover on, when I'm showing you how I'm going to be tightening up the cover, more or less. Okay, running behind, I got the cover on. See, these are the special tarp clips I was talking about. That's what's going to help me pull these tight. And then something else I'm using is this right here. This is one of those ratchet bars that truckers use, and I'm using that to press the bars back across tight up against the wood, so I can drop in a block of wood on each side by the bar, and I can screw it in, and that's going to help keep the bottom of the tent from, or the greenhouse from closing in as I pull these tarps tight. So I'm just going to kind of start at the back, do that piece by piece, and work myself to the forward and try to get it as tight as I can. It might take some arranging here and there because it's still pretty loose, but I think it's going to tighten up as I move my way down through the greenhouse to tighten it up. And then once those are set, I'm going to come in with those clamps, the hose straps, strap them down, and then toenail in all of the supports, and then do the rest of the framing. So I'll check back in with y'all once I get the tent as tight as I can, and then start all the strapping. But either way, even if this does move a little bit, I'm expecting I'll be able to get it tighter than this, and then even if it moves a little bit, it's gonna be okay. It's definitely a lot tighter than right now than most people can get them, and it's even tighter right now than what the Amazon ad has on their own page for their images. So, you know, one step at a time, but it's getting there. Alrighty, so I'm pretty much done. I'm gonna come in here, got our spars put in, got the side supports in, a little back support there. Now I spaced this about, you know, 8 inches from the back here, that way I can still finagle the door in. On the front side, I just built a simple frame that's connected. It's not very sturdy right now, because of it's only connected there and there on the side. I may do a cross support here, going across here to brace it up a little bit more. But the reason this is important is for side, you know, side to side. So here's the thing. So if you know these greenhouses, you know they're real flimsy. Look at this. Super sturdy. Super sturdy. All right, guys, so I know not much is different from when I was here last time showing y'all, but I put some of my peppers in here. Like I said, plenty of them are a little scraggly. It's the end of the season, whatnot, all that stuff. But the only thing I've really done is I poked a hole here, so I got some greenhouse tape, put some greenhouse tape there. When I came through over here, is I got the greenhouse tape as well. As you can see, it's kind of coming undone right there. But I was planning on putting the greenhouse tape along here, but if that's not gonna hold, I don't know. Why is that not holding? Huh. I'm gonna have to figure it out. I mean, maybe this greenhouse tape I got maybe isn't very good. It was highly rated on Amazon. Anyways, but yeah, so I think what I'm gonna do is in the spring, I'll probably add me like a 2x12 across here and put a little support down, make this like a little shelf. You know, I was thinking another good modification for one of these, if you're in a high wind area, which is something I may do in the future, is I may go ahead and do even more supports with the wood. So what I was thinking is maybe 3 of these would be enough. So maybe a 2x4, could be a 4x4, down into the corner, into the ground, up at an angle to this post here in the center. So it'd be kind of a triangle going up, and then one 2x4 attached with pipe clamps all the way down the spine that is connected to that triangle, and then maybe one on each end and one in the middle. Yeah, you lose like a little bit of head space right there, but not a whole lot. You can work around it. But if it's tied in to your body and tied in up there good enough, really good, you use some, you know, steel straps, and it's concreted in, that would add a ton more support for these greenhouses with wind. Now, another thing I was also thinking that might improve these greenhouses is these covers are only like $80 a piece. I was thinking about maybe doubling them up. Buy another one, same size, and just throw it over the top of it and have that one go out on the outside, and, you know, strap it down the best you could, and just have 2 layers of greenhouse plastic on it. But you know, we'll see. Maybe that would be I do like these. I think with a little bit of extra work, these greenhouses are a really good option to on a budget, to have a decent greenhouse with a little bit of work. Like I said, as of right now, I'm still less than $500 in this greenhouse, and I was originally looking at buying a, what was it? It was a 8 by 16 foot polycarbonate panel greenhouse that was on Amazon. I was gonna pay like $523 for it, and I was still gonna have to do a lot of the support stuff in order to make it strong enough as it was. So I mean, for far less, I think I paid like just over $200 for this greenhouse without any modifications, and then like $200 in wood. I'm less into this greenhouse than if I bought the smaller polycarbonate greenhouse. The only benefit that I think that the polycarbonate greenhouse has is the panels obviously last a lot longer, and after that greenhouse inevitably falls apart, you can reuse those panels for another project. So, but even with this here, as long as the wind does not destroy this hoop, you know, this hoop could be reused multiple times. So, and then with a little bit of work, like I said, these are pretty cheap. You can build 5 or 6 of these for the same price that you would spend on, you know, one smaller, higher quality one, and then still be able to, you know, just do this little bit of work to it to make it much stronger. I mean, this thing is, I'm gonna put y'all up here. It's really hard to tell while holding the camera, but yeah, going side to side like that, it's super sturdy. It's back and forth, still a little movable, and I might rectify that a little bit more, because even if you come down here, it's still side to side is still kind of a problem, and it's because I don't have much support on the top half. Now I've seen some people come across here and do one going across here, across. I may look and see if I can get some steel pipe that has the and get some of the ends that clamp around a pipe, and do a pipe that connects here and just goes across here on the back side, and then maybe do some, if I can find them like that, do a couple that go from here up to the top, or maybe even that attach to the 2x4 here and go up to the top. The problem is, you know, this is not a permanent house for us. We're renting this property while we look at trying to buy a property. So this is kind of my experiment greenhouse. So when we buy the property and build the actual farm, I kind of have an idea of what these greenhouses actually need to survive my area. Like I said, I'm right here on the coast, and there's hurricanes. Literally, 2 blocks that way is a bay. 4 blocks that way is another bay. 10 minutes that way is the Gulf. You know, we get a lot of high winds here, and I have a 5-acre empty field right here just on the other side of this fence. And you can see, you know, the wind's coming straight like this right now. That's why I arranged this greenhouse like this, so it's not getting wind broadside. And then during the winter time, when the wind comes from that direction, give or take, it's not hitting this broadside. So this was kind of the test greenhouse to kind of have an idea of what I need to use. I think if this tarp lasts a reasonable amount of time, even if it's once a year, even if you have to replace this tarp once a year, they're like $89, $90 on Amazon for the replacements. If you build your frame to where your frame can handle the wind and you just have to replace these tarps, then I think that it's a good investment to be able to make these stronger. I will say there's a couple other things that I would like to do next time. I would like to find a better way to be able to tighten the tarp so I can build out the entire inside frame first without putting the tarp on. And in that way, I can go through and add even more hose pipe clamps on here. Because I think, like for instance, my frame right here, and sorry about the barking, my German Shepherd knows I'm out here and he wants me to play with him. So my door frame here, let's say I made this at more of a triangle door frame, you know, maybe not a full triangle, but a little bit more of an angle. Then I could connect that bar right there to the frame, and then, or like I said, if I was to do another door frame on the other side, I could put and set this door to where a 2x6 sits on its side vertical like that. Hose clamp it to that, screw the 2x6 to that, go all the way down the spine, connect to the door on that side, and then every so often I have this 2x6 that's vertical here, that's acting as a much stronger spine. I could attach poles to that and make this a lot stronger. Like I said, if you have a mind for modification, I think these greenhouses have a lot of potential, especially for how much they cost. I think you could do a lot with them if you just are willing to put a little bit of money into them. Like I said, $500 in, I think these could be really useful, especially for me wanting to try to use these as a commercial grow house. For me, when we get the property, I would love to be able to have one of these grow houses for each one of my specialty types of peppers. It's 10 foot long, 10 feet wide, 20 feet long. A greenhouse like this, if like you see right now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 26 or 27 plants in here. And yeah, they're pots. They're not doing all that great. They're not big plants. But you could I think you could probably pretty easily put 30, 40 good plants in here. And if you're like me doing hot sauce, if you have all that as one specific variety of pepper, then you can certainly have a pretty decent harvest off of one of these small greenhouses, especially for the cost. For instance, my yellow Scotch bonnets I have over here, which is my best producing plants right now. I just harvested more. These things are, you see the leaf miners have been tearing up, which is one thing the greenhouse is going to help with next year. But these things produce like crazy. If I had 20 of those in here, I would have more yellow Scotch bonnets than I know what to do with. Same thing with habaneros. Habaneros are always really high producing for me, even though, you know, not taking care of this red habanero. There's like 20 peppers on that little plant right now. If I had 15 or 20 of those in this greenhouse, I literally would not be able to stay on top of harvesting or be able to use them all. I'd be making powders and stuff like that. So I think for a small homestead farm like I'm wanting to do, these greenhouses have a lot of potential if you have a mind that's mechanical and how you can make these a little bit tougher, and you're willing to put in a little extra work on them. It's certainly cheaper than, you know, a lot of other options. Now I do have an idea what I want to do when I get the property. And I like making stuff. I like building stuff. You know, everything I build, I like to build. The frame in here, my watering system built out, my garden. You know, I'm a car guy. I build all kinds of stuff. But what I want to do is I might build a couple of my own hoop houses with a pipe bender. I might use like one by one square tubing, 1/8 inch wall, a lot stronger than this stuff, and bend the hoops and have it two separate pieces. And I might make it to where it's a lot stronger setup, and I'll have it set up to where you can use the polycarbonate rolls of greenhouse panel and set that up. Who knows? I don't know, but you know, ideas in my head, stuff I want to do. But I think for right now, this is going to do me fine. As long as it survives the first storm. I think if this will survive 60-mile-an-hour winds, I think I'll be golden. All I'm going to do is, you know, be able to tell, you know, wait and see. yeah, that's all I can do is wait and see how long this thing survives. But anyways, guys, thank you a lot for being here with me on this process. I'm going to be posting shorts as I fix this up and get some more stuff going in here. Any modification I do to strengthen this greenhouse, I'll let y'all know. But yeah, just like, subscribe, do all the good stuff like that, and I'll see y'all in the next video.